I'm Mel Buchanan. I'm the Curator of Decorative Arts and Design here at the New Orleans Museum of Art, and we are Facebook Live in our Decorative Arts galleries. So these are spaces that we just opened last year in 2018, so they're still new and exciting to me, and I hope to you too. So what I'm going to do today is to do a speed walk in 3 to 5 minutes of about 250 years of history in the ceramics and glass and furniture and design collections here at NOMA. So we're starting right here into the gallery, and it's a lot of material from the 18th century, that's the 1700s, and it's arranged to show you highlights from our collection from this time period. So you're seeing objects in ceramics and glass and silver and furniture, so you can really start to look at the style of the time, which was primarily Rococo, sometimes called Chippendale style, how that might look in different periods. So you're seeing lots of, you could go in close and maybe see lots of curves and fruit and flower, and I sometimes like to say that the whole point was that decoration takes over the object during this time period. So like if you look at the legs, there are no legs, there's just a scroll in the C's. So that's what you're kind of looking at here in this gallery with the Rococo style in the 18th century, but then you move forward in time. And so here as we advance into the 19th century, so the 19th century, so the early 1800s, to say that another way, the lines are changing. So if you look at a wall like this, it's really an examination of the neoclassical style. So those curves are softening more into straight, rectilinear lines. So you can kind of see in a piece like this where there's more inlay, a flat surface, and it's all looking to the classics. So Greek and Roman precedents. So if you even see really specific details, I'm going to draw you right in here. Something like this Lear shape, that's coming right out of ancient Greece and Rome. So that was the real fad of the time, is to bring up these neoclassical ornaments. But then you keep moving forward in time here. So getting into the middle of the 1800s, mid-19th century, you see not only the explosion of the revival of a classic style, but the revival of that Rococo style and the revival of the Renaissance style, and all types of historical ornament becomes very popular. And the more ornament, the better in the mid-19th century. So we tried to kind of hint at that in how we display here. So putting as much as possible in this case into an entire wall full of this palacey ware. So trying to get at this explosion of ornament in the 19th century. So what you're looking at on this wall is one of NOMA's idiosyncratic collections. You know, we're a museum that has all types of collections, and we have hundreds and hundreds of pieces of this type of palacey ware. And I fell in love with it because it's so kind of weird and grotesque, and it has all of these wonderful life castings of, you can see fish and snakes and mussels and shells. So we put a lot of that on view, but then I started to look at other artworks that kind of shared this same impulse. Around the 1870s and 1880s, you see a lot of this hyper-realistic ornament. So looking to nature, but like in this mirror, like you're really looking to nature for your design inspiration. It's not stylized, it's actual limbs, and it's limbs that are coming from trees that are being used here in the furniture, and doing castings of animals. You've even got the dead rabbit hanging there at the top as your ornament. So you kind of see this love of this very hyper-realistic ornament in the 1870s and 80s, and we went with that for a little special display here. It's not something you might see at every art museum's walk through history, but it's important to us to give this timeline where you see the big topics, but also things that you might not see everywhere else that are special here at NOMA. So if we continue through here, we're still in the 19th century, seeing a lot of rich ornament here from the Victorian era. Again, most of this is looking to history for design inspiration. Like this wonderful sideboard, it's New York made, but it's in the Renaissance revival style. It's looking backwards in time to the Renaissance for design inspiration. And thinking big picture and how we've laid out these galleries, from this end to that end, as we walk through, you're going to see a dramatic change in what drove style around the turn of the 20th century. So here we're in the end of the 1800s, looking backwards in time, but by the time we swing this direction, down here to the red wall, you're to modernism, into about 1910 and 20. And then the idea was, forget the past, look to the future for design inspiration. a lot of change in how designers were thinking about making the objects around us. It was a time of tumultuous change in a lot of ways, politically across the world, and you see that working its way out in the art and the objects around us. But when you're changing, it doesn't always mean one thing. So to some people, it means kind of the sexy, sensuous Art Nouveau. To other people, change meant, well, let's go simple and back in time, like the arts and crafts movement, like you can see in this wonderful Gustav Stickley chair. So kind of simplifying, getting rid of ornament, and kind of looking backward poetically to an easier, simpler time in life. Or you could think of things like the Newcomb pottery here in New Orleans. They were doing the same thing, kind of looking back to the beauty of handcraft and natural ornament that you might see here in the local environment, kind of bringing that all together. But what was really kind of rocking the design world was the emergence of modernism. And that's what you start to see down here on this wall represented. Where you're really stripping away the past entirely. It's all about the promise of the future and cities and urbanization and machines and what machines can make for us and new materials like metal. So it's very much a forward-looking thing. I mean, even some of the designs, like this is a cart for an airplane. So it's a famous, well-known cart called the Aerocart. It was designed for the Douglas DC-3 aircraft in 1938. So very much, you can see it like it's almost like a little car itself, like streamlined. It's zipping forward for an airline. Okay, we only have 100 years to go. So here as we move through the rest of the gallery, you're kind of getting into a style that many people know and love. It's very popular in design circles, really ever since it came out. We're looking here at the middle of the 20th century or mid-century modernism. So it's that same forward-looking impulse that we just saw with the modernism, but a little softer. You're seeing more looking at some softer natural edges, thinking of things that might fit the human body a little bit. And that's where you see real design icons, like this chair, the lounge chair wood by Ray and Charles Eames, which is about using the new material, just like those metal chairs, but here the new material is bent plywood. And that bent plywood could be mass-produced and could be affordable, and is really thinking through those issues, but it also feels good. You can bend the plywood so it feels good on a body in a way that maybe a metal chair might not have. So these are kind of the issues that are looking at here, a more informal type of living, seeing some wonderful design icons like this little chartreuse creamer and the pink or coral, it's called a celery tray behind it. That's from the most mass-produced, well-known design of ceramics ever. It's the American Modern Ceramic line by Russell Wright. Designed in the late 1930s, but right after World War II, late 40s to the 1950s, this was mass-produced. And if you just do a little eBay search for American Modern, you're gonna see how much of it is out there. So much of it is out there because it was fun, it was affordable, and it really suited this new optimistic lifestyle right after World War II. And as we close out of the galleries, we're really looking at kind of everything that's happened in design from the 1980s to now. There's a lot going on, but the themes that we've decided to work with in this gallery is looking at how those old traditional lines between a craftsman or designer or a fine artist really started to break apart. So in this gallery, we've dissolved those lines. So you're seeing ceramic platters that are made by fine artists or design chairs by well-known designers, and then the emergence of things like design superstars, like this kind of in the gallery with these big dramatic design statements, like this wonderful chair by Ron Arad. People come through and say it doesn't look comfortable. I'm like, yes, it's not the point. It's not supposed to be a comfortable chair where you sit and watch The Sopranos. This is an artwork. This is about making an artistic statement. It's coming out of the 1980s, but it's embracing new material, and it's really about dissolving those lines between the decorative arts and craft and design and fine art, which is a conversation we love to have here at the New Orleans Museum of Art in lots of different ways. So I could have made this live walk through 200 years a couple hours worth of chatting. So there's a lot here to see. So I hope that you come back to NOMA and look at the work that we're doing here in the Decorative Arts and Design Galleries that we just opened. So I think I'm gonna wrap up for today, but I'm going to remind you that we're doing these Facebook Live sessions every Monday at 11 a.m. So if you come back next week, like I will, I'll be seeing some of my other curatorial colleagues walk through the galleries and share single objects or frantic tours through the galleries like we've just done here. So thank you for tuning in.